Hi, and welcome back to In Style Atlanta. I am one of your hosts. I'm Sky.
And I am Merritt. Welcome back. We are so glad you all are here joining us.
Yes, and we have some guests with us today. Of course, my fabulous friend Jarard J, who's sitting in. I love when you come by and pay us a visit.
I do too.
Thanks for having me. How y'all doing?
Good, Jarard. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. You know what I mean? One day at a time.
That's all we can do.
Yes. And we've got Miss Destiny, who is a part of the In Style Atlanta team as well.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ladies.
Hi, girl. Hey. We like the artwork back there. Did you get that from the museum, the High Museum?
Kirkland's girl, Kirkland.
Okay.
I'm eager.
So everyone's been having a good week, yes?
Yes. How about you all?
Complain.
Honey, did we just come off a holiday weekend? I don't know. I just feel like everything is just like
what is time?
One big blur.
What is time?
What is time? All I know is that the year is half over.
Half over.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So 2021, come on now. We are coming. But man, you know what? I have a lot of hot topics here that I really want to get into. On a serious note, a lot of mental issues that we've been seeing in the news as of lately when it pertains to entertainment. So I want to jump into Kanye West.
Yeah.
Now, we know he was running for president for the birthday party, okay? And he had a campaign rally in South Carolina. And let me get my notes. Here we go. So he made statements about, of course, Harriet Tubman. And I'm going to read the statement that, she had never actually freed the slaves, which drew a lot of attention. And now that's when, after that, we started hearing from the flood of his tweets on his Twitter account. I mean, and clearly you could hear that this man had some issues through his tweets. Earlier today, Kim Kardashian took to her IG account to somewhat defend her husband, mentioned that he suffers from bipolar disorder and that it's very, complicated and, it's painful to understand, according to CNN. She also said she's never spoken publicly about how this has affected them at home because she is very protective of her children and Kanye's right to privacy when it comes to his health. And in case you guys don't know, Kanye has not taken his medicine. So when you do suffer from bipolar disorder, there is a medication that kind of balances you out, and he has not been taking that. So what do you guys think about, number one, Kim coming to her husband's rescue? Should she have said anything? Should she have just let it go on? What do you guys think?
I'll let the guests, Jarard, why don't you kick it up?
Kick it off?
Kick it off, Jarard. Why not?
So I think that what Kim did was very honorable. I think it's what she's supposed to do. She's his wife. She's supposed to come to his defense. Regardless of whether he's right or wrong, she's supposed to come to his defense. Had she not said anything, I think we'd be looking at her a little sideways, like, what kind of wife are you being right now? Because clearly Kanye West is in a mental position that he doesn't have full control over. And I think that's what we have to look at, because bipolar disorder is real. Mental health issues are real. And when you don't address them, regardless of who you are, you're still a human being. And I think we're looking at Kanye like he's a supernova and does not have to physically deal with the same things other people don't have. Other people have to deal with it. And so he's in a position right now where he's not in full control of what he's doing. And so for her to come to his defense is exactly what she's supposed to do. And I commend her for doing that.
I agree, Jarard. I think, first of all, right, like mental illness is not spoken enough about in our communities at all. There's a lot of negative stigmas about what mental illness means. They are real issues that are happening, and we need to start having far more open conversations about what support and what health looks like and what healthiness looks like when it comes to mental health. So I think, like, hopefully this shines a light, and I hope, this is something that people will start talking about more. Two, for sure, like, that's your husband. Girl, you better say something.
Absolutely.
Because I know if it were my husband out there, I mean, I think what's going to be interesting is if people are going to start commenting and maybe even judging on the type of support that she provided, right? Like a statement is different than me being in Wyoming at the camp.
Right.
If it were my husband, I'm in Wyoming at the camp, and I'm deciding whether or not it's safe for my kids to see my husband in this state or not. So they might need to be with grandma or auntie while me and my husband get this together before we come home to make sure he's good. But I do think it's great that she did, defend her husband. I think the way of what, defending and supporting your husband looks like will vary, for marriage or not. But yeah, if that was my husband, I'm be in Wyoming. We gonna figure it out so you can come back with these kids.
Yeah.
Right. Because he did say a lot of things. He opened up a lot of things. Now with bipolar disorder, people, because I experienced this firsthand. Now the one who is experiencing, who has the bipolar, a lot of times what they say is like they're in another realm.
Yes,
So it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be very interesting, I guess, once all of this once he calms down, will he go back and address these, some of these claims that he made? Because these are some serious claims that is exposing, the Kardashians. They got a lot of stuff going on right now. So I'm with you, Merritt. She should be there in Wyoming, and she's got to be there 120% when going through this. So.
Yeah, I do know Dave Chappelle was up there though.
Yes, I saw that.
Dave was up there.
Dave, Dave is my favorite comedian, or one of my favorite comedians of all time. So I was like, come on, Dave, show what support looks like. So I did appreciate that.
Right. Now, did he make a statement or anything like that?
It's funny, the video, and hopefully we'll add the video as well. The video is really funny because, like, they were like just filming, showing support, and Kanye kept asking Dave to say something funny, and Dave was like, I am funny, like I'm not gonna do this on the spot. But I think it was just there to like be like, you're not by yourself. I think that's what he wanted.
That's good. Now, I want to keep the mental health issue rolling. We all know Tamar Braxton. She's got a new reality TV show coming out, Get Your Life Together. It's going to be airing on the We Network, and it actually premieres July 30th. So now her boyfriend, David Defiso, who is also on this reality show, made the 911 call, stating that Tamar had taken several pills and had been drinking. And apparently he also stated that she takes pills for depression. Now, according to TMZ, David brought up some details of Tamar's beef with the We Network. Now, also goes on to say that Tamar's family thought it was actually David who has the issues with the network because of the way that he was portrayed on some of the promos. It shows him as being very controlling, demanding as well. The family noticed that when Tamar got together with David, that there was a change in her behavior. And also in this promo, you could see where Tamar they were behind closed doors, and Tamar said, "Hey, David, stop." And then that's when the producers started coming in. But, if we're going to fast forward now, E! Online sent out a report stating that Tamar was transferred to a new hospital that specializes in mental health care. So once again, we see mental health issues in our community, and they are now coming out, and because they are celebrities, now they're on the front line here. So now, do you guys think that this is something that had stemmed from the show, or do you think maybe it's going back a little further from when she was on The View?
Not The View, The Real.
I'm sorry. What did I say? The View, The Real. Yes.
I'm gonna step out on a limb. I think it's neither one. I think it goes back to her previous marriage. I think that, Tamar.
I was thinking the same thing, Jarard.
So I was around Tamar her quite a bit, especially when I was at V, and she'd be in town a lot, and she's a really sweet person. But I was around her a couple of times when she was still with Vince. And I know that in that situation, it was a very toxic situation for both of them. Now, none of us know what goes on behind closed doors, and I don't claim to know, but I do know that whatever happened in that relationship really affected her. And I'm sure it affected him too. And I'm not sure that the effects that that was feeling then or is feeling now are gone, or if she's overcome them, because I think that the things that she's dealing with now and the ways that she reacts to certain things now show a sign of still having a lot of scar tissue from that. And I think that now you have scar tissue compounded on top of scar tissue, compounded on top of scar tissue, with problems that were never really fixed or alleviated or never healed, right? And so you keep on hitting this person who is mentally sensitive, right? Which a lot of us I'm mentally sensitive. A lot of people are mentally sensitive. And a lot of us do care about how our surroundings view us. As much as you want to say, it don't matter if people think, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a lie. And I think anybody that says that is not telling the truth. And a person like Tamar Braxton, coming from, even if you go back to their childhood, look at the family she's a part of. Look at the fact that they've been under scrutiny since they were all little girls, right? And you deal with that. You go into a marriage that's tough. You get out of the marriage that's tough. You go to another relationship. And now that relationship is showing signs indicative of what she went through in the past relationship. So you got to, in my opinion, kind of look at the whole perspective of what's going on with her, and kind of be a little bit softer and understanding to what this woman is dealing with right now. Because if, in fact, she is being reminded of stuff that she went through in her past relationship based off how her guy now is acting, you guys are ladies. You guys know what kind of effect that has on you, right? And so I think that that's part of it. So I think it's not about the TV shows. I think it's about the personal things that she's had to go through that probably have never really quite gone away.
And so it's like a trigger, like something. Yeah. So David probably triggered something from that she had experienced previously. So yeah, I totally didn't even think of it that way. Merritt?
So I think a few things. One, I was picking up the same thing, Jarard. It's starting to become a trend now. And so, I'm a big Ayanla Fix My Life fan. I just feel like anytime I watch that show, I could watch it for 10 minutes or 2 hours. She drops gems like no other person to me. And I think that one of the things that she talks a lot about is if you are not fully healed yourself, then you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. And so I think that's one of the things that's happening with Tamar. I do wonder though too, like, I wonder if WeTV are also if they're also responsible for how we perceive Tamar and how we perceive the Braxtons on television, because I feel like this is not the first group of people who have been complaining about this,
right?
Especially the representation, Master P, Dame Dash, like a lot of people are complaining about how they are depicting us on television. And so I'm wondering if it's a network thing, and whether or not we need to start having bigger conversations about which network we're choosing to represent us in these reality TV spaces.
I agree. I think with the networks though, for them, it's going to be all about the ratings, and they're going to want to, create a storyline that's going to, pull people in and get people locked in. So that's the thing, even though it may not paint that accurate picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that she's getting the help that she needs.
Yeah.
I think, again, we're talking about bipolar disorder. Now we're talking about depression. I would love to see the statistics on depression within the Black community in general. Because I could only imagine how many of us are dealing with some sort of form, an area and way of depression. I remember my childhood crush. My childhood crush was, I used to watch The Famous Jed Jackson on Disney Channel, and that was Lee Thompson Young, and he committed suicide because he experienced depression at 30. And so it's one of these things where it's just we need to be having far more conversations about what this looks like. because our coping mechanisms clearly aren't healthy.
Right.
And knowing that, it's okay to try to reach
Yes.
out for help. I think, we've got to be strong. We can't let people know that we're weak because I've got to put on,
Especially as
Tamar
a
has
Black
to put
woman.
on. She has to put on, Jarard, you said that, that she was a sweet, kind person. All I know is Tamar from what I see. So, what they put on.
Yeah.
And the media is you gotta love them. You gotta love the media since we are in the media, but media can be a beast.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to talk to, I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. We're going to get a little bit of an entanglement here. So August Alsina now has been taking that word entanglement to like a whole different level. Let me tell you, he released a song with Rick Ross called Entanglement. And lots of folks have been talking about August, and he's saying that he's kissing and telling. Because I don't know if you guys have listened to the actual lyrics, but so I pulled out a couple of the phrases. Number one, he's talking about being tangled in the sheets, and we all know because he has been jaded. And
Nice.
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 some of
I like
choices like willpower and Matrix. And then he also mentions Tupac in there. So do you guys think that August is being petty by,
Yes.
throwing these little things out here?
yes.
Yes. As a man, I'm very disappointed in August right now. And the bro nation, let me tell you something, the bro nation, we want to sit down and we want to talk to Mr. Alsina. We don't understand these antics, and we don't understand what he's doing because he is committing cardinal sins amongst the bro nation.
Do tell. Go on, Jarard. I want to hear.
You don't tell.
So here's the deal. So number one, he was already wrong for even talking about it in the first place. That's first and foremost.
I agree.
Especially considering the circumstances, because it was Jada and you have Will and Jada. It's not like Jada is a single woman and he had nothing to lose or risk. He shouldn't have been talking about that in the first place. That's first. But now the song aspect of it and the poking and the nitpicking and he's basically picking on Will and Jada on wax. That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I had to play it again. I had to be like, hold on, rewind that for a minute and play it again. And some of the little innuendos and some of the little things that he was throwing out there, I'm looking at the thing like, what is he trying to accomplish first of all? Because I understand that it's been a while since August has dropped any music, and I understand that, he's trying to make sure he can still be relevant, but we all loved him as an artist. He came out with some phenomenal records.
Yeah.
He wasn't the type of artist that came out and we just kind of forgot about him. We were just waiting on him to drop something else because August was a cool dude. He wasn't like the dude that came out and you wanted to see him fail because he was an a-hole. He wasn't that guy. So for him to do this now, I don't know if we can look at him the same. Like Bro Nation is looking at him like almost like, dude, you're kind of a punk right now. Like, and
you
so
want to see him fail.
Yeah, and so even now, if you do try to come out seriously, we're not supporting you. We just not. The song would have to be a song that's hotter than Usher's Yeah for us to even pay it any kind of attention. Like, that's just the way we're looking at it, because this dude has exposed a situation that happened, entanglement that happened for no reason. And for what? So now you've caused Will to be definitely uncomfortable. See, Will is so cool and so accustomed to being a star. He knows how to handle himself. But trust and believe, Will is very disoriented and disappointed by this. Like, very embarrassed. This is an embarrassing situation. Regardless of the nature of that relationship or what have you, he's embarrassed. Jada, I believe, is also embarrassed. But she had to address it because once he came out with that, she's got to say something.
She did. Entanglement. She gave us the word of the day.
She did give us the word.
But she was forced to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think she did that because she wanted to. Otherwise, that conversation would have happened a long time ago. We would have heard about that a long time ago if she wanted to come out and talk about it. So my question to August, if I could sit down with him, is why? What were you trying to accomplish by doing that? And now you've stuck a knife in and you're twisting the knife. Why?
Because he was hurt.
Man, listen.
That poor boy.
Nah, I ain't feeling either, because quite frankly, listen, somebody come to you with an arrangement of sorts, right? And say, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get some of this, but you gotta keep it between us. We're not complaining. We're not doing that.
You have a point.
You
Yep.
should have made sure he signed some stuff, man.
That is very, yes. You have a point. I'm sorry. I had to chime in and say that, because that's very vital if you think about it. Because I'm had an agreement before.
Absolutely.
I
You
agree.
think they just ran up on each other and said, oh my God, he's attractive. Oh, she's attractive, and something just happened? No. That's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. Not when you're in a situation like Will and Jada, been married for 20 some odd years, at the caliber of celebrity that you are, so you got to move differently anyway. It don't happen like that.
Then why didn't he sign an NDA?
Honestly, and they got digital NDAs now. You ain't even got that paper no more.
Right.
I don't understand. That's why I think it was one of those like, oh, I got caught up in the moment. That's why he's so butthurt. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Will and Jada have been married for 20-something years. We've heard things about Will. We've heard things about Jada. We've heard the things about Will. Ain't nobody ever know no names. Ain't nobody's ever come out with anything ever.
That is.
And then
now, that's what I'm saying. Ain't no NDA with this. That's why I think this was an entanglement, if you will, because that was your son's friend.
Right, but I'm telling you as a man, okay, as a male, that's not how that happens. And furthermore, there was a relationship between August and that entire family.
Yeah.
So this is a situation in which they were comfortable with each other. So in order for that to cross that level, that has to be intentional.
But you think Will, when he met August, was like, yeah, you can go ahead, that's my wife.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
That's my whole point. But August and Jada definitely had to have some conversations about it.
And there was some flirtation going on.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, I mean, flirtation is one thing, and that happens. It's whatever.
I'm not
but
with my son's
you
friend.
coming out talking about we did this, that, third, and now you got a song about it. And on top of that, listen, let's say hypothetically that it was okay with Will and Jada. Let's say they had a conversation and Will was like, you know what? I greenlighted, no problem. That would have been different, because now for August to do what he's doing, okay, you kind of get a pass for that.
Right.
But it was very clear at that red table that was not the case.
Will looked like Will and I are birthday twins. So he will always have a special place for me, because we're birthday twins. We get it.
They need to just do a versus battle. How about that?
No, they're not doing a versus battle. I'm telling you right now, okay? Libra's petty runs deep, okay?
Hey,
deep.
I think that
I think y'all ready for what Will got up his sleeve.
Yeah, we
I'm telling you.
Payback. I think it's coming.
It's gonna be long. It's gonna be ugly. That's all I can tell you.
It's gonna be piercing, and it's gonna be sharp. And you're messing with Will Smith, who's a very powerful individual. People love, respect, and admire Will Smith, and they have for 30 years, right?
Literally.
So whatever he chooses to do, we're gonna automatically be on his team.
It's gonna be a ... to be continued. The Wild Wild West.
Okay. Look at you. Come on, Time Queen. Come on.
See how I put that out there.
Good.
But speaking of the Wild Wild West, Nicki Minaj is preggers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so look. Now, we all kind of thought that maybe she was preggers, but her and her husband, Kenneth Petty, speaking of Petty, are actually with child, and she posted that all on her IG. The pictures were beautiful. She had the yellow hair going and the stripper clear shoes and the belly. That was just so cute. Now, yeah, did you catch that? Did you like that outfit?
I think, listen, I think everything about that is perfect. She's married to the man. They are starting a family. They obviously love each other very much. I think it's really beautiful. You know, she's about to give the ultimate gift, and that's the gift of life, the gift that only a woman can give. And I pray for a very, very, you know, healthy baby to come out, and you know, it's a blessings for their family.
Yes, I cannot wait.
I can't wait for that either. The stripper shoes kind of threw me off, only because as a person who has been pregnant before, and she looks like she's like 6-7 months pregnant, I'm impressed that she was able to walk in those. I couldn't even wear heels.
Well, we don't know if she actually walked in them. She could have just probably put them on when she was just sitting down.
Yeah, she could have said
I don't know how you could put weight in those, honey.
It was a platform, honey. It was
that didn't matter for me.
Platforms balance everything out.
Not when you're pregnant.
I'm gonna
Nikki
have this combo.
What do you think, Jarard?
Hey, all I'm saying is she's beautiful. I think it's awesome.
I'm so happy for her.
And hey, it is what it is.
The gift of life is one that it's amazing.
Well, so that concludes my entertainment hot topics. You guys, I want to make sure we're going to pause here. And I want you guys to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, In Style Atlanta. Make sure you guys tell your friends, have everybody, you know, it's like a big party here. So, you know, feel free to make comments, you know, always tune in and follow us on all of our social media platforms. It's just got a lot of good stuff going on. And Merritt, come on, bring it with that world news.
Yes, ma'am. So I've got some topics. So first topic, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Twitter had a massive hack. And they were saying that they actually think the hack could actually be worse than what they found. Over 130 accounts were targeted by the attackers. Some of the accounts were Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Joe Biden, Warren Buffett, both of the West, Kanye and Kim Kardashian West, Apple, Uber. There was a lot of pretty influential accounts that were being specifically targeted. And the big threat is the hackers were able to tweet in the accounts and gain access to the control of all of the accounts. And you will see one of the things is they were seeing that, you know, on Bill Gates' account, he was saying that he was going to invest in Bitcoin. And there was some other like random things around like financial-ish influencing of how we're, you know, making some of our decisions. So the FBI is definitely conducting an investigation to see more details about the hackers. And I think the most alarming thing is it's really unclear on what the attackers' goals were, but it raises really, really serious concerns for policymakers because it could have done some serious damage to the financial scope and our economic scope based on whatever they were influencing us to say. So my question is, do you think that there should be better regulations with social media? And then do you also think, like, should social media have as much influence as it does within our own world? Like, I don't, you know, there was a time where there wasn't social media. And so the way that we got our information was actually fact checked, right? And so now that we're in this world where we are now, social media is a preference of how people get information more so than things that are actually vetted. So have we gone too far left? And if so, how do we go kind of back into the middle?
I think social media is like especially Twitter. It's like the breaking news. Because like, as I mentioned with Kanye, like I was just glued to it because there was like a comment coming out about every 20 minutes. And I wanted to see, you know, especially like in the sports world, you know, where Twitter is, it's like that feed where it's like you're just getting the breaking news. Just coming out.
I don't mean to cut you off, Scott, but to me, Twitter is one of those social media accounts where information, it gets there quickly. Sometimes Twitter will have something that Instagram will not get until 2 weeks later. And I feel that with Twitter being, you know, a social media platform such as, I feel like it is more of a target social media platform for people to, you know, just express how they feel and be more open to that. And that could be why, you know, I'm not saying that it is, but it could be why Twitter did have the hackers because of the type of social media account that it is. That's just my, perspective from it, with Twitter being an ongoing thing. Like, you log onto Twitter, it's something going on every second. Every time you refresh your TL, is something new. So it's just that, type of social media platform to me, personally.
Jarard, you quiet. What you think, Jarard? What you
I
over
think
there brewing on?
social media is a part of evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you look at human evolution, at one point there was no such thing as a book, and then a book came along, and we started relying on the book, and then whatever transpired after that, we relied on that, and then when the computer came out back in the day, everybody tripped out, and now you can't imagine living without one, right? So I think that social media is just a natural part of evolution, and I welcome it. And I think that it's an awesome way to get news. It's an awesome way to get what's going on. I think that the hacker thing is something that's unavoidable, because as technology continues to get more involved in our life and it continues to advance, so do the ability of those that can tap into that technology.
That's true.
And I don't think there's nothing you can do about it other than A, pray that it doesn't happen to you, and B, just be very mindful of the things that you do on social media, and be very mindful of the people that are around, and do whatever you can in your own world. But you're never going to be able to stop a person if they want to do something, especially as people get more and more talented, shall we say, at what they do. The same thing goes true with people that can get the information off your debit card. There's no way to avoid that, right? But you just have to take whatever precautions that you can take in your own control. And that's really all you can say to be realistic about it. But I think that social media is nothing but a part of human evolution. I think it's going to get more intuitive as days go by. I think that COVID has already given it a huge boost, because what have we been doing? Sitting at home, getting on social media. There'd be no verses if there was no coronavirus. Stuff like that, right? And that's become one of the hottest topics on earth right now. So it's one of those type of situations in which you got to welcome it and prepare yourself for it as you welcome it. You cannot allow it to bombard you and not be ready for whatever could possibly happen, because just like anything else in life, when there's something that's beautiful, there's some bad stuff to go with it. It just is what it is.
No, that is so true. And social media is also good for marketing. You market there, you brand, you can make money off of social media. I feel that it's a way that us in society, how we use social media and what we use it for sometimes, because everyone does not use social media for positive things. Some people use social media to be negative, so I just think it's more or less us, how we control social media and how we, maneuver around it.
Yep.
Great. Next topic. I don't think y'all ready for this one, baby.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, Asheville, North Carolina. I'm not familiar where this is in North Carolina. Oh, Destiny, do you know where that is?
I don't.
Oh, okay. You said, ooh, I thought you were familiar.
The Biltmore House.
I like this topic, though. This is a topic.
The Biltmore House is there. The Biltmore Estate is in Asheville.
Is it? Okay. So
Right.
Asheville, North Carolina has recently approved reparations for their Black residents. Their city council has apologized for the city's historic role in slavery, discrimination, and denial of basic liberties to Black residents. And it was a 7-0, it was a unanimous vote to approve reparations for Black residents and their descendants. The past resolution, though, sorry, this is silly to me. Sorry. The past resolution, in order to implement reparations, does not mandate direct payment. Instead, it will make investments in areas where Black residents face disparities. And so the resolution calls a city to create a community reparations commission, and their focus is to increase generational wealth. And so some of that increase may include, and it's not limited to, increasing minority home ownership, business ownership, career opportunities, growth and equity opportunities, so on and so forth. So my question to you is first, what are your thoughts about how they're going to be implementing reparations for their Black residents and their Black descendants? And then I guess I would say, does this mean, a lot of the protests? Does this mean a lot of the conversation? Does this mean like this is a sort of resolution, if you will, to some of the larger institutional conversations that have been started across the country?
I have a question. When did they make that statement?
This was just 7 days ago.
Have they done anything since?
No, I mean, so far it's the committee that they talked about, and so they have voted to create a committee to decide how they're going to implement what their resolution of reparations are, and essentially, go to their goal, which is to increase generational wealth for Black residents and descendants.
Well, I mean, it sounds very nice. But tell you what, I want to see how they actually plan to put this in action. Then I can, make a statement. But right now, it's very nice. Thank you, Asheville, North Carolina. You got the reparations because Black people have been talking about, hey, we want our 30 acres and our mule. So this is how you're going to get. We're not going to give you any money, but tell you what. So I want to see them. So are they going in the Black communities right now and rebuilding? Is that what they're going to do? That's what it sounds like the plan is.
That is, according to USA Today, when it was written, that has not yet been decided. I don't know if there's a follow-up piece on what that is. It seems like
I bet you there is.
New. Well, it seems like it's pretty new for when City Council has just voted this into
just so like all the other corporations.
Implementation is a
diversity department
right now. Destiny, what do you think?
Personally, I think I'm going to piggyback off of Sky. Me, just being me. Personally, I do think I kind of would want to see it first before I can just say. Honestly, because there are some thoughts that's going through my mind, like, are you all doing this because of, you are like getting a little backlash, or what's the reason? Is it sincere? Is it because you care about the Black community? I have questions kind of, so I will piggyback off of Sky. I think I just want to see it first.
Guys,
because all these businesses and all these things, all people just talking out the side of their neck. You just want to just say something to make yourself sound good. Oh. But what are you really gonna do?
Right.
What are you really gonna do?
Jarard, what do you think, Jarard?
So okay.
Me and Jarard usually be on the same, we usually be on the same, you know what I'm saying?
So I'm an optimist by nature. So I always think positively first. I applaud the intention. I applaud the fact that the conversation's happening. And I really applaud what they are talking about doing with it. Had you told me that, they're going to give everybody a check, I don't like that as much as I like the fact that they're going to take the money and implement it into something that makes sense for our community. Mm-hmm. I applaud that. Now, yeah, you want to see it come to fruition, but I'm going to sit back and I'm going to give them a chance to back up what they're saying. And I think that's awesome. I think that it's long overdue. I do think that because of what we've been dealing with and all the unjust we've been dealing with over the past couple of months, that's probably why it has happened, but it doesn't matter why. What matters is now that it's happening. And so if it's happening, let us take what they're going to seed into us and do the right things with it, and then take it and make it grow exponentially. That's what we need to do. I think that when they come in our communities and they do gift us with whatever they're going to gift us with, it's our responsibility then to take that gift and make it grow. And so I applaud the whole situation. I think that it would be very awesome should it come to fruition.
You think other cities should take that same, I'm sorry, you think other cities should take heed and maybe follow what they're doing?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I think absolutely. Do I think that would happen? Probably not, based off some leadership in certain cities and all that. But I do think that it will set a great example. And I do think imagine this, what if it works? So that's what you haven't talked about. What if it actually works?
Then other cities would do.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right. Like I'm somewhere between a realist and an optimist. And I think, to Jarard's point, I think for there to be written down historically in 2020, a city that has openly and has admitted finally and apologized for the brutality of slavery and the benefits of how they have received, or the financial benefits that they have received as a result of slavery, that to me, in and of its fact, is already progress, right?
Absolutely.
Because our country has not even done that, right? So one city in our country has finally done it, but our entire country has still not even recognized and apologized for the brutal and unbelievably beneficial thing that has come from slavery. So for that alone, for a city to, and for it to be unanimously voted, for someone to say, yep, we actually, yes, we did benefit and it was wrong and we apologize, that to me is already like, what?
Absolutely.
Like, that's written in history now.
Yep.
Now, do I, in the same vein, as a realist, I understand the history of when something's written, like treaties in this country, and what happens to those things, and how, they don't necessarily uphold their bargain. But I do hope that they do figure out a way to start changing institutional racism, because for once, of all of the protests that everyone has been doing, for once, one city has finally gotten it right. This is what we have been asking for. Not a mural, not lift every voice and sing during the NFL. That's not what we asked for. Not a blackout in your logo. That's not what we asked for. We have been asking for equity, and this is what this means.
Yep.
Look, that's the one agenda item. We didn't ask for anything else.
Right.
That's true.
So hopefully it does work out, and they can be the trendsetters, and maybe the rest of the nation can see and say, okay, you know what, this
Not under this leadership.
This can work, because then it would really be nice to have nice communities and know that, okay, well, this is Martin Luther King Boulevard. Wow, this is so nice. As of, yep, this is MLK. I know it.
I know.
Which every city that you go to that has MLK, you already know where you are.
So sad.
Every city.
It's so sad. Literally across this country. I'm gonna say my topic for the end, because it's not really a topic; it's more of a homage. So Destiny, I'm gonna kick it to you.
Okay. You want to kick it to me?
Mm-hmm.
Hot topics?
Yeah, I thought you had some topics. Is that true or no?
I do. I have one hot topic.
Okay.
Scott kind of got my other hot topic.
Come on,
but
Scott.
I do have one. This is a little bit leaning towards hip hop. Tommie Lee and her daughter. I know you all have seen something about that, how they have been going back and forth with each other about her daughter being pregnant. Tommie Lee off of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Her and her daughter has been spewing a little bit on social media about her daughter having an abortion, right? Her daughter will be a teenage mother, like Tommie herself. Tommie came out and pretty much stated that she is just trying to look out for her daughter. With her being a teenage mom, she does not want to see her daughter making the same mistake. Her daughter feels as if she is not supporting her, she is not there for her, and it's just a big fuel. So my question to you, Meredith and Sky, I'm not a mother yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a mother yet, right? So I can't really put myself in Tommie's shoes, nor her daughter's shoes, right? Because I'm not a mother, I'm not a teenage mother. But with you two being a mother, my question to you, do you all agree with Tommie, pretty much, I'm not going to say demanding her daughter to have an abortion, but pretty much forcing her daughter to have an abortion? What is your take on that? Like, as a mother, do you agree?
And we both have daughters, so that's what's funny too.
I'm not even a daughter, so this is even more, how do you, God forbid, but if that was your daughter and she says, "Mom, I'm pregnant," and you are just so disappointed. You are insisting that she has this abortion. She is totally against it. Do you think that will cause tension on you all's relationship, and how would you feel?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna choke her out first off. But let's just be clear,
because we talked about this, okay?
Yeah, because she already knows. So thank God, we are past that. So my daughter's 20. So, but no, because she knew, because there was not going to be that because of how much I drilled into her, in her mind, hey,
it never questioned me to become pregnant as a teenager. That was my.
No, but sometimes things are very, it's a cycle. So Tommie, I think, was also young when she had hers. So sometimes things just kind of repeat themselves. So you got to just be up in there and break that cycle. I was 25 when I had my kid. So that's still kind of young. So and I keep telling her, hey, no, get to, like 30, get to where you're stable. So I drill it in her over and over and over and over again. So I don't have to be in that predicament. Now, should I have been in that predicament? Oh, yeah. You guys might have seen me on the 6 o'clock news. But, in all actuality, I would not be able to force her to have an abortion. At the same time, that is her body. That this is very deep and heavy. I would tell her, you sit in your quiet time and you have to link up with God and you decide that. That's a decision that you will have to make for live with for the rest of your life.
Right? You will still be supportive of her, regardless of that mistake. Then there you go.
Yeah, that's not my decision to make. I feel like my job as a parent is to make sure that I raise a person who is an independent, contributing member to society, who makes sound decisions, based on her life. Would I be disappointed? Yeah, because I know the challenges that come with motherhood in my 30s. So could only imagine what the challenges of motherhood would look like as a child. But I mean, if you thought you was grown enough to have sex, that's what happens when you have sex, babies. Yeah. So this is why, you know what I mean? Like, these are conversations that you have to have with your child. I think the other thing, I mean, statistically speaking, honestly, there's a high statistic, there's a statistic that says it's a high turnaround if a mother is young when they have their child, that their child will also be young. And so, that's the statistic. I understand, what the mother is saying, because she knows her own challenges of when she had her own child as well. But that's not her decision to make. That's her child's decision to make.
It is. That's how I felt,
Jarard, you want to ask?
Yeah, I want to ask Jarard as a man. As a man, what is your take on this as a man?
This one's tough. I personally, and I have to preface this, I personally do not believe in abortion unless it is, some type of extreme circumstance, like, rape or, something like that. But I don't believe in abortion as a form of birth control. I never have. And that's just not my thing. Now, I will never tell somebody.
Are you pro-choice though, Jarard? Are you pro-choice though? Oh, this is interesting.
It is.
This is. I love because
turn this.
The reason I don't answer that question is because there's so many different circumstances that can alter the way that you would answer that question, right? And so if I was to say, yes or no and lean on that, well, there are some circumstances that might contradict that opinion, right? So I just have a thing about when people are going to try to force that on somebody as a form of birth control, right? Just because you were having sex. That I don't believe in. However, I also am very firm on the fact that I could never tell a mother how to be a mother and how to deal with her child. I don't have children, but I know that if I did, there'd be some conversations, but I wish somebody would try to tell me how to dictate things between me and my child. And I respect that in anybody who is a parent, especially a mother, especially a single mother, because I can only imagine how tough that is for you ladies and the things that you go through. I was raised pretty much by women. My father died when I was very young. And so I can empathize with and understand, some of the things that you guys go through. I could never go through it because I'm not strong enough. I think that women are the strongest creatures on earth. And so this type of an example is something that I sit back and say, damn, if there's something I can do to help, great. But I would never try to impose any type of belief for what's going on in this type of circumstance. But I will say that personally, I'm not a fan of having an abortion just because you got pregnant. I've always been that way.
Great.
Well, thank you. Now, did you have another topic, Mary?
I do. So I think the last thing is on Friday, July 17th, we lost two big civil rights pillars for us. And I just want to make sure that we take the time to properly acknowledge these two big heavy hitters.
Absolutely.
One, we lost John Lewis. John Lewis was a civil rights leader and a U.S. House of Representative for Georgia's 5th Congress. For Georgia's 5th Congressional District. I didn't realize he was in this role since 1987. Like 1987 until 2020. This was his role.
Gosh.
And we lost him to a 6-month battle with pancreatic cancer. He made his announcement to say that it was stage 4. He died at 80. And I would say that John Lewis is probably one of the most things that he's notable for is known for telling us to get into good trouble. And he would know what that is because he had over 40 arrests himself while demonstrating against racial and social justice. So first, rest in power, John Lewis. I don't even have enough words to talk about the inspiration and the influence that he's had on others, specifically in his role.
Yeah.
And then the second is Reverend C.T. Vivian, who died of natural causes. He died at 90. And another pillar to the civil rights movement. I actually didn't know this, that he created a college readiness program within his church. And his program was so profound and had so much vision that the U.S. Department of Education later used his vision to create the program of what we call now Upward Bound. I had no idea that basically he was the thought partner behind Upward Bound.
Right.
I do know about, in the 70s, he created a national anti-Klan network where he was basically monitoring the KKK. But he soon after that changed the focus and the name of that program because he realized it was so much bigger than the KKK. And so he created the Center for the Democratic Renewal. And then also in 2013, when President Barack Obama was in office, he was awarded Vivian with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And so 2020 has brought so much this year. And I think this is another heartbreak for us and for our community in general. And I think that we are definitely going to deeply mourn the losses of these two people. But I wanted to make sure that we took some time out to just make sure that we honor the two of them and for all the great things that they have helped us in our community.
Right. It's just amazing. And it was something else, like mind-blowing for them to pass on the same day.
Right. Wasn't it with ours? I think I read it was within 2 hours they passed away from one of
It's unbelievable.
mind blowing. It is. It is.
But
But they see, you know, they definitely have.
Yeah, we definitely thank them for all of the contributions, because definitely probably wouldn't be where we are without some of their contributions that they've made. So
For sure.
thank you. And thank you guys so much for joining us here in Style Atlanta. Jarard, it is always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, Jarard.
I think
you for having me.
a permanent fixture. I kind of like
I know. I'm kind of used to it too.
yeah. Yeah,
Thank you so much,
boss lady, about that. So, Destiny, it was fun.
Yes, ma'am, it was. I enjoyed it.
Yes. So you guys make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, and make sure you subscribe right here on our YouTube channel in Style Atlanta, you guys. We'll see you back here real soon. Thank you again. Peace and love.
And hair grease.
Bye.